floor open between John
see
and
anything
Mazza.
be better this year. Now, two men who've never bowled in a championship or won a championship going in the final game.
Yeah, last year Mike Rorty winning the industry award, and I was honored to get the media one. And I have fun this year emceeing it. I'll make it short and sweet, Bo. I promise.
It's a fun night. Now, Mike Edwards, fourth consecutive championship round of the year in the #1 position.
Cutting through.
Edwards, a profile we have seen a number of times, a 6-step delivery, very powerful upper body, drives through that shot in that pivot step with a just good solid push. And you know what, Chris, he's not playing the lanes properly. I watched him warm up in his 6 practice balls right before the championship game, and he's left himself a tough split, and he's going to have more of those if he doesn't move inside towards the center of the lane.
Could that come from being maybe overconfident, 4th week in a row, making the telecast, but still struggling for that first title?
Well, I think he's put the idea of it's got to be back there somewhere, that he has to win a championship to prove himself. But you know, it's like a golf putt, Chris. It could be a downhill break to the left. If you play it uphill to the right, you're going to miss it every time. And Mike Edwards, who is the tournament leader, is playing an outside line, and I don't see where it's going to work for any of the players today. So he may have to make an adjustment. You see him way outside in the approach.
Wow. So it's a 9-pin for Mike Edwards on the left lane.
Well, he's thinking, and that's the main thing. As you see, is from the low trajectory, his ball, he tries to adjust for the shot that hit light in the first frame, gives it a little less speed, comes up high, almost leaves the 4-9 split, has an easy spare here in the second frame, but going against a zeroed-in left-hander, John Mazza.
All right, for Mike Edwards, spare in the second frame with a strike up from Mount Clemens, Michigan. Shot a big 246 in the last game. John Mazza. A 7.
Awesome.
Oh, he is really pumped up. Got his game face on. Ready.
That's for sure. And, you know, a change of pace is often good, Chris. I mean, he was always such a deliberate player, and he had no success in the championship round. 0 wins, 2 losses. At least he's won his first match by picking up the pace with a 240, and he's right up on the approach again.
All right. John is 5'9", 155 pounds. His opponent, Mike Edwards, 6'1", 185. Bring that up because all shapes and sizes enjoy this game, whether it's professionally or for fun.
Let's see how Maz is attacking the championship here. He's playing a big hook, almost like a cranker. Starts in the center. He's going to slide over here with his right foot, and watch his ball trajectory. He's almost on third arrow going out. So watch this.
Last minute break for Mazza in the 8-pin. Okay.
Well, the profile, he's got the good push away. His form looks good, but he gets a great break right here. Watch him cross over on the right-hand side, the 1-3, and the 5-pin will just roll back, be taking out the 8-pin. Mazza, 12-pin lead. Let's see if Edwards makes some sort of adjustment. He's playing the extreme outside line, very oily in that area.
No break on that shot.
Now, good shot by Edwards, but once again, if you're a little bit off on the proper way to play the lane, you're not going to get the real good breaks each time. That's a lot of money to win, $392,000 without taking one of these tilts home with you.
Like last year, Mike won $78,200, and as we pointed out, 4 times in the finals. We asked him how he got involved in bowling and how he actually started on the tour.
Well, I started bowling when I was around 3. I followed my parents to the center most every week, and I turned pro when I think I was 20, and I didn't have a lot of money when I started, so my grandfather helped me out, which was really nice. It kept it in the family.
His grandfather was in the grocery business, and Mike paid him back with dividends plus, and now he's out here being backed by Richard Altman from Oklahoma City, who backs a lot of the top players.
Grandpa Kilgore, 89 years old. And finally now, after the fourth frame, Albee makes Grandpa happy with a strike. We'll be back. All right. Next week, it's a Bud Classic at Sunrise. Today, it's a Florida Open. Cypress Lanes. John Mazza, leading by 13 pins, has a strike up. Shooting in the fourth. Championship match. He had a 246 when he eliminated Mike Albee in the semifinal game. Now it's a game against the tournament leader, Mike Edwards.
Check these eyes. You talk about intensity as you see Mike Edwards working over the rosin bag. He is focused and in the zone, as you say. Look at those eyes, ready to go.
It's like watching thoroughbred horses in the starting gate through your binoculars. Boy, they're ready. And the Don Handicap from Gulfstream here in Florida this afternoon on Wide World of Sports, plus Clips Award winners announced.
And I like in the Don Handicap, you got to go with rhythm. He's a deep closer, Chris. And
okay.
you want a long shot? Try Mercedes won at 20-1. Rhythm was 5-2 in the morning line.
Okay.
Right now, Mazza's odds-on favorite to win this match as he leads by 22.
And continues to march. Now, Mike Edwards.
Big shot for Mike. He struggled a little bit on this right-hand lane, plus being in arrears by 22 pins, needs to put some pressure on John Mazza. Fifth frame.
All right, that made his mom and dad, Gene, and Jim happy, along with his wife, Meg. Sort of newlyweds. Meg from Norristown, Pennsylvania. We'll be going to Erie next week.
Well, Edwards made a great shot in the fifth, was trailing by 22s, cut it to 12. Now he's come up on the lane. He's been very successful on the left-hand lane, sixth frame. That's Jan Mazza. But the game will be on if Edwards strikes right here. It'll be just 2-pin difference.
Oh, yeah. Cherokee and Choctaw and half Irish. And all Italian, John Mazza. What a wonderful country this is, made up of all kinds of ancestry, heritages. So, I hope John will remember he's speeding up his game and pulling the trigger, won't he?
I think so. Some of the greatest players of all times, i.e. Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, they were really quick. Not quite as quick as John Mazza is right now, but I don't think you tighten up. And Earl Anthony used to tell me, if I didn't know what I was going to do before I step up there, I'm sure not going to figure it out in another 10 seconds on the approach. So, good idea.
Okay, like last week. All of us at ABC love Byron Nelson. If you ever played with Byron, he doesn't hesitate. He hits the ball. Why wait, he says. Should know what you're going to do when you get up there.
That's for sure. That's what you're sitting on the bench for, contemplating the next shot. Mike Edwards up, trailing by 12, 7th frame.
Hanging on the channel. A little bit too much outside. And he has left the 2-pin.
You see Edwards a little bit off balance, sliding off to the right. But once again, Chris, you picked it up. He's playing in that extreme outside slippery part of the lane, and the ball just doesn't make the big turn. He leaves the 2-pin. Not much margin of error out there.
But as we mentioned, his 4th consecutive week on our telecast, and knowing him as we have over these years, he gains confidence with each week. But sooner or later, he's got to win, as Butch Soper would say, our statistician.
Well, I talked to Pete McCordick, the former most prolific non-winner on the tour, and Pete says really the pressure is on Edwards, no matter how much you downplay it. And after McCordick had won his first title in Fresno, the second one was easy. So let's see what Edwards does here, see if he can get to the winner's circle.
The adjustment, he comes up high, right?
Well, yeah, I agree, Chris. And he's highlight, and he's bowling very well. It's sometimes hard to explain why a player can be that far off when he's bowling well. But he's playing in an area where there's very small margin of error. Now, he's got a very, very tough spare here, especially with all that oil on the outside part of the lane. He needs to get the ball between the 3 and 6 and carry out the 9 and still avoid chopping off the 10. So, very tough shot on this lane condition.
Ooh, just does, Mark.
There's a great break. He actually missed it so far he made it. The ball actually did not take out the 9 pin. The 6 pin just clipped the back of the 9. Terrific break, and he stays in the match. But Mazza has a chance to take it all here. 8th frame.
So let's say the strike, if there ever was one.
The moment of truth for John Mazza. After 9 years, going on 10, a full decade of professional bowling, he can capture his first title if he can slam home a strike here in the 9th frame. That would take out Edwards. Anything less, Edwards can still win.
Oh, please! Got his wish. Last year, John earned 71,220. Mike, as we said earlier, 78-2. So they have been bowling extremely well, and this shot, oh boy.
Biggest shot of his life. All that practice and dedication came through there. There's an outside chance for Edwards, but he must throw all strikes and have disaster strike John Mazza.
Last week, losing to Amuda Monticelli 220 to 216.
Difficult situation for Edwards. He's bowled so well. He knows the final outcome of this match has already been written. And he can't blame himself. He has to just go back and look at the tape. Look at the championship round and realize he was just a little bit too far outside. He could have played more in the center of the lane and been much more competitive.
Winner in this final match will receive $20,000. And John may have some early tears. Why not?
Causes sticky approaches, though, John, but it's a lot of fun.
And the runner-up, 10-5.
You think winning in professional sports doesn't mean something? It's called moonwater, something you can't experience on the earth.
All right, John. I was brought up to believe that it takes a man to cry. Okay? It's a tough match for this man who loves the color black, Mike Edwards. 4 weeks in a row. Imagine that. With that opportunity. Coast to coast on television. But don't discount him or his ability or anything else about him. He's a tough cookie.
And right now, that color black's the left side of his bank statement. Doing well.
That's right, because he moves into second in the money earned thus far this year behind David Ozio, who won the first 2 matches. But for John Mazza, wow. And Mike Edwards, remember, shot a 211 here in the final match. Yet he has to again be a runner-up to another non-winner who no longer has that category. 26-year-old John Mazza from Montclair in Michigan. And let's go back to New York now. And here's my colleague, Frank Gifford.